Let's talk about something we all kind of know is true, something that feels super intuitive. And that's the idea that we learn best not by just listening, but by actually doing.
I mean, Confucius basically nailed this all the way back in 450 BC. Involve me and I will understand. It's this timeless piece of wisdom, right? It just gets to the heart of how we're wired. It's not about passively absorbing information, it's the involvement, that hands-on experience that really makes things click.
And we've all felt this. It's a gut feeling. We know it works. But why? What is the actual mechanism going on there? How does the simple act of doing something get transformed into real, deep, lasting knowledge? Well, that's the big question we're going to unpack today.
So, to start, let's bring this home. Let's connect this whole idea to our own lives, because this isn't some dusty abstract theory. It's something you literally do every single day, and you probably don't even think about it. No, really, just take a second and think. When was the last time you really learned something new? Maybe it was trying out a new recipe, finally beating that tough level in a video game, or just getting the hang of some new software for work. You probably jumped in, maybe you messed up, you thought about why, you tweaked your approach, and you tried again. Well, that whole process, it actually has a name. And that name is Kolb's learning cycle. See, this isn't just some random thing we do. A brilliant American educational theorist named David Kolb actually mapped this whole thing out. And what he showed was that real learning isn't a straight line from A to B. It's a continuous, repeating cycle. The official term for this whole idea is experiential learning theory, and the key phrase here is transforming direct experience. You don't just have an experience and magically learn. You have to actively process it, turn it over in your mind, and that's what creates knowledge. And the guy who put this all together is David Kolb. So David Kolb, he built on the work of some real giants in this field, people like John Dewey and Jean Piaget. He even co-founded an organization called Experience-Based Learning Systems, just to dig deeper into this. He was obsessed with how we process our experiences to learn and grow, and he boiled it down to this elegant four-stage loop. And here they are. You've got concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. I know, it sounds super academic, but trust me, this is exactly what you were doing in the kitchen when you were trying to perfect that new recipe. Let's break down what each of these really means. Okay, so first up is the concrete experience. This is the doing part, plain and simple. It's you, right there in the kitchen, actually making the thing for the first time. You're not just reading about it, you're in it. You're feeling the texture of the dough, you're seeing the ingredients mixed together, you're smelling it bake. It's all about that direct, in-the-moment feeling. Then, the cycle moves into reflective observation. This is where you kind of step back and become a spectator of your own experience. You taste the finished product, and you think, it's a little dry. Or maybe, whoa, that cooked way faster than the recipe said it would. You're reviewing what just happened and asking those super important questions. What went right and what went wrong? And that leads to the really crucial step number 3, abstract conceptualization. This is the thinking stage. This is the aha moment where the learning actually crystallizes. Based on your reflection, you think, okay, next time I'm definitely going to add more butter, or I need to turn the oven down by 25 degrees. You see? You've just created a new theory, a new little rule for yourself to guide what you do next. Which brings us full circle to the final stage that closes the loop, active experimentation. The next weekend, when you make that dish again, you actually do it. You add that extra butter. You test your new theory out in the real world. And guess what? That creates a brand new concrete experience, and the whole cycle starts all over again. But this time, you're starting from a smarter, more experienced place. That, right there, is continuous learning in action. So that's the theory. It makes a lot of sense, right? But how is this actually applied outside of our own kitchens and hobbies? Well, it turns out this little cycle is the secret sauce behind some of the most effective education and job training programs in the world. I mean, just think about it. Co-op programs and internships, that's pure experiential learning. Those super realistic flight simulators pilots use to practice for emergencies, same thing. Even things like service learning, where you connect community work back to what you're studying. All of these powerful ways to learn are built on this one core idea. To really get it, you've got to get involved. Let's look at a cool example from a university course. Instead of just sitting in a lecture about vegetation sampling techniques, the professor sends the students out into the woods. They have to actually figure out how to collect the data themselves. They have to deal with real-world problems, like if it starts to rain. They learn firsthand what works and what doesn't. And that's a level of gut understanding you are never, ever going to get from a textbook.
Or check this one out, which is all about building empathy through role-playing. Students are assigned to act as one of the groups in a real conflict over a sacred site. They could be the Lakota Sioux, or rock climbers, or the National Park Service. By having to literally step into someone else's shoes, they don't just learn the facts of the case, they start to feel and understand the clashing values at the very heart of the issue. It's powerful stuff.
Now, of course, like any big, influential idea, Kolb's theory didn't just stop there. Over the years, other thinkers have poked at it, challenged it, and suggested some really important tweaks that have honestly only made the model even stronger and more useful. Kolb's work was totally groundbreaking, but later on, folks pointed out a few things. For one, the original cycle felt very individualistic. Their revisions pointed out that, hey, a lot of our learning happens in social groups with other people. Another big idea was that the most powerful learning doesn't just start with any experience, but a disruptive one, something that totally shakes up our normal habits. And finally, they added a whole new step, an emotion inventory, recognizing that how we feel during an experience is a huge part of how we learn from it.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for you and me? How can we take this awesome cycle and actually consciously use it to learn things better and faster in our own lives? Let's break it down into a practical, step-by-step game plan.
Here's a 6-step guide to put it all into practice. First, you prepare. Get the basic info you need so you're not going in totally blind. Then, step 2, you engage. You dive right into the experience. Now, this next part is critical. You have to discuss it. Talk about what happened, how it felt. From there, you conclude. You form your own theories. Then you experiment. You try out those new ideas. And that, of course, leads right back to the final step, reflecting on that new experience. You follow this, and you'll make learning truly stick. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. The next time you really want to learn something new, could be a skill for your job, a new hobby, or even something about yourself. Don't just grab a book. Think like a designer. How are you going to design the experience? How will you make time to reflect? And what's your first experiment going to be? How will you choose to get involved so you can go beyond just knowing and truly, deeply understand?